You know that feeling. It's Tuesday, it's 6:30 p.m. You've just had a brutal day at work, and the absolute last thing you want to do is stand over a hot stove and cook chicken and broccoli. You're tired, your brain is fried, so almost like muscle memory, you unlock your phone, tap that colorful little app icon, and within 30 seconds, you've ordered dinner. It feels good. It feels like relief. But then you look at the bank notification the next morning. That burrito bowl that cost $11 in the store somehow cost you $28 by the time it hit your doorstep. And you tell yourself, it's fine, I deserved it. It was just this one time. But if you actually look at your bank statement, really look at it, you'll see it wasn't just this one time. It was 3 times this week, plus the Uber because you were running late, plus the Amazon Prime purchase you didn't really need but it had same-day shipping, plus the pre-cut fruit because slicing an apple felt like too much work. We're living in the golden age of convenience, and let me tell you, it is absolutely bleeding you dry. My name is William, and I spend way too much time thinking about the hidden leaks in our financial buckets that keep the middle class stuck on a hamster wheel. If you're someone who works hard for their money but can't seem to figure out why your savings account isn't growing as fast as your paycheck, be sure to subscribe and like this video if it helps you. Because today, we aren't just talking about saving $5 on coffee. We are talking about the convenience tax, a silent, invisible force that is eating up to 40% of your disposable income without you even realizing it. Here's the thing about the convenience tax. It's seductive because it sells you back your own time. Or at least that's what the marketing departments at these billion-dollar tech companies want you to believe. They tell you that by paying a service fee, a delivery fee, and a tip, you are buying freedom. You're buying ease. But let's actually run the math on what this freedom costs, because the numbers are frankly terrifying. Let's take that food delivery example again. This is the most common offender. I was looking at a study recently that showed the average markup on food delivery apps is anywhere from 25% to 91% more than the in-store price. Let's be conservative and say it's 50%. If you order delivery 3 times a week, which, let's be honest, for a lot of millennials and Gen Z is a low estimate, and your average order is $30, that's $90 a week. That is $360 a month. That is $4,320 a year. Now, you might be thinking, William, $4,000 isn't that much money in the grand scheme of things. I make decent money. Okay, fair point. But you're thinking about it linearly. You need to think about it exponentially. If you took that $360 a month, money you are setting on fire just to avoid 20 minutes of cooking, and invested it in a standard S&P 500 index fund with an average 8% return, over 30 years, that isn't $4,000, that is over $500,000. $500,000. That is the price of your laziness. When you look at a burrito and ask yourself, is this lukewarm bowl of rice worth $500,000 of my retirement? The answer usually changes pretty quickly. But the convenience tax isn't just about food. It's insidious. It's everywhere. It's in the subscribe and save models that maximize your consumption. It's in the gym memberships you don't use, but don't cancel because the cancellation process is designed to be annoying. It's in the grocery store, buying the pre-marinated meat for $14 a pound when the regular meat is $6 a pound. Here's what most people don't realize. Convenience removes friction, and friction is the only thing standing between your wallet and poverty. See, back in the day, and I don't mean 1800s, I mean like 2005, spending money required effort. You had to get in a car, drive to a store, walk the aisles, find the product, stand in line, and hand over physical cash. That is a lot of friction. That gives your brain time to ask, do I actually need this? Today, Jeff Bezos and the engineers in Silicon Valley have spent billions of dollars to remove every single ounce of friction from your life. One-click ordering, Face ID payments, auto renewal. They have built a highway that goes directly from your bank account to their pockets with 0 stop signs in between. And this leads to a psychological phenomenon that I call the valuation gap. When you pay for convenience, you are usually justifying it with a logic that sounds smart but is actually completely broken. You tell yourself, my time is worth $50 an hour, so if I spend an hour cooking, I'm losing $50. Therefore, paying $20 for delivery is actually saving me money. I hear this all the time. It's the favorite argument of the hustle culture crowd. But here is the brutal truth. Your time is only worth what someone pays you for it. Unless you are actively working and generating income during the exact 30 minutes you saved by ordering DoorDash, your time was worth $0. If you ordered that food and then sat on the couch to watch Netflix for 2 hours, you didn't save money by outsourcing your cooking. You just spent money to sit on your couch more expensively. This is where it gets really interesting, because the convenience tax isn't just financial, it's a skill tax. When you outsource everything, cleaning, driving, cooking, assembling furniture, you slowly atrophy your basic life skills. You become dependent, and when you are dependent, you are price inelastic. That's a fancy economic term that means you have to pay whatever they charge because you don't know how to do it yourself. Look at car maintenance. If you know how to change your own air filter, it costs you $15 in 5 minutes. If you go to the dealership because it's more convenient, they charge you $80. You just paid a 430% convenience tax because you didn't want to watch a 4-minute YouTube video. Now, I want to pivot for a second because I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, William, life is hard. I work 60 hours a week. I'm exhausted. I pay for convenience so I can have a sliver of peace. And look, I get that. I really do. Decision fatigue is a real thing. By the time 6 p.m. rolls around, you have made thousands of decisions at work, and your brain is chemically depleted of glucose. You physically struggle to make good choices. That is why the candy bars are at the checkout line. Stores know your willpower is at its lowest point when you're leaving. But the wealthy, the actual wealthy, not the people who look rich on Instagram, they don't fall for this trap. They value their capital more than they value a momentary burst of dopamine. There's a concept in behavioral economics called pain of paying. Cash has a high pain of paying. You physically feel the loss. Credit cards have a lower pain of paying. Apps with stored credit card info, they have almost zero pain of paying. It feels like a game. You press a button, a car shows up. You press a button, a box appears. It doesn't feel like money. So how do we fix this? How do we stop the bleeding? I'm not going to tell you to grow your own vegetables and sew your own clothes. That's unrealistic. But we need to implement what I call strategic friction. If you want to stop the convenience tax from eating 40% of your life, you need to manually add the friction back in that Silicon Valley took out. First, delete the apps. I'm serious. Delete Uber Eats, delete DoorDash, delete the shopping apps from your phone. Force yourself to use the desktop version if you really need to order something. Just that one extra step of having to walk to your laptop and log in will cut your impulse spending by half. I guarantee it. Second, calculate your real hourly wage. This is a wake-up call. Take your yearly salary, subtract the taxes you pay, and then divide it by the actual hours you spend working, commuting, and thinking about work. If you make $60,000 a year, your real take-home hourly wage might be closer to $20. The next time you want to pay a $15 delivery fee plus tip, ask yourself, am I willing to work for an hour and a half specifically to pay this guy to bring me a burger? Usually the answer is no. Third, embrace the 72-hour rule for anything convenient. You want the new gadget on Amazon? Add it to the cart, but you are not allowed to check out for 72 hours. If you still want it in 3 days, buy it. But 90% of the time, the dopamine craving will have faded, and you'll realize you didn't actually need it. You just wanted to hit. Here's what you have to understand about the system we live in. The entire economy is structured to separate you from your money as quickly and painlessly as possible. It is designed to keep you poor. The convenience tax is really a tax on your future self. Every time you choose the easy path today, you are making life harder for yourself 10 years from now. You are trading a secure retirement for a lukewarm pizza. You are trading financial freedom for a slightly nicer car lease that you don't have to maintain. It's about reclaiming control. It's about realizing that boring is profitable. Cooking at home is boring. Walking to pick up your takeout is boring. Waiting 3 days to buy a pair of shoes is boring. But that boredom is where wealth is built.
Wealth isn't built by hitting the lottery. It's built by plugging the holes in the bucket. And right now, convenience is the biggest hole in the boat. Let me give you one final scenario before we wrap up. Imagine two people. Person A earns $100,000 a year. They live in a luxury apartment building with a concierge. They order delivery 4 times a week. They have a Peloton subscription they rarely use. They lease a new BMW every 3 years because they don't want to deal with repairs. They upgrade their iPhone every September because it's easy. Person B earns $70,000 a year. They live in an older building. They meal prep on Sundays. It takes 2 hours. They drive a 7-year-old Toyota. They cancel subscriptions the second they stop using them. In 10 years, person A will likely be in credit card debt, wondering where all their high salary went. They will feel broke despite the 6-figure income.